Hello, my name's Steve Dyde and this is a masterclass in Applied Wing Chun. Okay, so what we're doing here, we're using the traditional Pak Sau technique of covering the hand, but we're actually applying it in a completely different way. So rather than using a stopping technique here and then working in, we're actually going to pass the hand and strike into the ribs at the same time, using the footwork from the Chun Pak to step off to the side. Traditional Wing Chun is going to use something a little bit more deliberate this way, and a straight line punch that comes like that, and in my opinion it's too set up. We need to break that down, look at it in a slightly different way, try and look at what you know in Wing Chun works, but the way that I want you to look at it is why it doesn't work. If you use a technique and the technique doesn't work, why doesn't it work, okay? And then try and break that down and analyse it and make it work, because Wing Chun will only work if you make it work. Okay, John, so you punch here, so we're going off to the side again, and we're striking into the head, into the lower body. We can use a hand here and here. This is actually Chun Pak application, which is the second form in Wing Chun if you don't know how the Wing Chun system is built, okay? In the second form, what we have is a footwork that steps like this. And some people, again, try and teach this as a self-defense technique. So if I was going to try and apply that, it wouldn't work, okay? Because it's an unrealistic technique to apply in a self-defense situation. What's more realistic is to use your hands naturally with like a Pak Sau action and a crossing motion. You'll find this in every martial art. Okay, so when John punches, the hands are here, I'm going to pass and I'm going to strike. The principles of Wing Chun that are involved with this are the simultaneous striking. So again, what we're not going to do, we're not going to pass the hand and then strike. We're actually going to get the timing of passing and striking at the same time. That puts us in a better position. Obviously hit him on the way in. The harder he comes in, the more powerful that strike's going to be. Hit him on the way in. Then we can use the principles of Chun Pak, the turning principles, to turn in, to drive the second punch in low, or to bring the punch up to the head high. Okay, and that's what we can apply. Okay, we've also got the techniques from Buji, if we want to then further that through into the trapping and things like that with the legs. So we can come from here, I can use my turning technique here, I can then close down, get into this lower limb, bring the knee in and get the trapping position in. Okay. The important thing about the trapping here, in the basic Wing Chun technique, can I borrow you, John? Sorry. We have this position with the hands, with the feet in this position here. The feet are turned in towards the centre line. That's very, very important. The reason for that is because when we trap into the legs here, what I want to do is turn this foot in nice and tight. Okay? If there's too much gap between my foot and John's foot, I can't use the trapping in the correct way. I've got no contact. John's not going to leave his leg there, he's going to actually move, okay, if I give him the opportunity to move. So again, it's like any martial art. If you're doing a technique from grappling where you're taking a choke, something like that, you have to bring the arm in nice and tight to get the choke on. You can't do it with sort of gaps here, it doesn't work. The same principle applies in Wing Chun when we're doing the trapping into the legs. The foot has to come in nice and tight, so we want to get the foot in, really tight into the foot there, then we can start to press and destroy the stance, okay? We can also use the shins to attack the shins, which puts him in a weak position. Okay, so then you've got the conditioning side of Wing Chun coming into that as well. Okay, so we'll break the technique down again. We've got the first part, which is the Pak Sau, which is from Simultaneous. We've got the second part, which is the step-in, which is from Chun Pak. We've also got the turning, which is from Chun Pak, working into this position, turning into the centre line. So we're turning back to face the centre line. We don't have to turn back to face the centre line just to defend. We can turn back to face the centre line to generate power, to throw a strong strike in. So the power's coming from the hips, in and through, okay? So we've got the initial strike here. It can be low. If you're confident, you can go high and come straight up towards the jaw. This can be a punch, it can be a palm strike, it can be a finger strike. Obviously, if you're training, you take it very seriously. If you're going to use a finger strike, aim towards the head so you don't go towards the eyes. Always try and palm towards the head. That way, if you get it wrong, you're not going to poke somebody in the eye. Okay? So from here, we're going to cover, we're going to hit, or we're going to hit, or we're going to hit. From there, we're going to turn and drive the second shot in. If his head's down, if this is covered, go low. Don't try and punch over the top of the arm. Okay? Look for the target. It's another training principle in Wing Chun. As he comes in, we're hitting. I'm looking for what's open. Okay, it can be here, it could be the elbow. Okay, in Chun Kyu you have this motion where the arm comes across the centre line here, comes across the centre line. Again, sometimes that's taught as a defensive action. So if I'm in this position and I come to here, you could look at that as a defensive sort of action. Some people teach that as a strike with a fist here. The way that I like to try and look at it is from this point here, I'm going to damage the arm. I'm going to take the hand here. We can use a tan sau for this position to cover. Get the arm to there, and then we can come in and drive into the elbow, or the back of the elbow, okay? We can use a lap sau. We can get here, and again, you've got the technique that works into there, just driving the elbow. But what you're doing is you're generating power from the hips into that position. So it doesn't matter whether the strike is a turning punch, whether it's a strike here, whether it's a strike low. It doesn't matter. The technique is irrelevant. What's important is the principles of turning, which you learn in the Chun Kyu. The third part is then taking the foot and bridging into the legs. Okay? So we start to destroy the stance. We're working into the stance. What I want to do here is John punches. I want to hit him high, take his attention here, and then come in low and get his attention again. That's got his balance. It's got his equal. Now I can take him down to the floor, I can turn his head, I can bring him down, or I can hit him again, okay? It's a destruction, it's a cycle of destruction that you're working. Starts with the head, goes down to the legs. So you're working all three sections. So what you can actually train is to hit 3 different areas in the system. So as he punches here, first one comes in low, second one comes in high, third one comes in very low, and you're working in, and you're taking down. Okay. So the second thing that we're going to look at, again if he throws the hand, is working into that position, into the trapping, foot nice and tight, really tight into that position. So I'm pressing hard into his leg. If you look at how the knee works, okay, when you get into this position, if my knee is pushing directly against his, make your leg strong, John, don't let me do it. This is what we're talking about, testing the system. If this guy stands there and he allows me to press and do things into his legs, it's unrealistic, okay? It's unrealistic. What I need to do is I need to get John to resist that as he would. If my foot came in, I need to get him to resist it. There's 2 things that I need to do then to take that out. The first thing is not to just put my foot there, but to actually use my shin to hit him and start to create that movement. It's a bit like this. If I'm going to break John's arm here, if he resists, there's no way that you're going to do that, okay? But if you hit it, you've got more chance of creating that. Same with any wrist lock in a martial art. If I say to John, I'm going to crank your wrist, I want you to flex, resist, start to do that, he's going to resist. If I do that, he's got less chance of resisting, you can make the technique work. It's the same thing here. You come into here, put your strength into your leg, I want to hit this position. But now I want to look at the angle of how I'm going to use that knee. If you look at the direction that his knee's pointing, what I need to do from here is go against that angle. I don't want to go directly onto that because I'm actually pushing into the force, into the strength of his knee. And if I do that, then it's not going to work. What I want to do is from here, I want to change direction, okay? So I want to push it along the side there. But I don't want to be doing this manipulation thing where I come in and twist and turn and try and push. He's not going to be there. He's not going to allow me to do that, okay? So you've got to get it into your mind that when you hit that position, you're going straight into that position. Okay? You're going to go straight into that position. You're not going to try and mess about with sort of sticking type legs things because, again, in a real situation, that's not going to happen. I want to be hitting. I want to know where that angle is, where I can attack it straight away, and then from there I can do whatever it is I choose to do to apply the finished technique. From there, we've got a kick off the rear leg. We can stamp into the knee here. Once we've created that imbalance in the stance, we can come up and stamp down, okay? So if we just bring that into the technique, so we're breaking it down, using it into here, turn the head, I'm getting the trap in, I'm doing the technique here. I can go for the back leg if it's available. I can hit here. I can get the trap in, turn him, take this leg out here. So there's lots of different things that we can do. Again, look at how the body works. If I'm going to kick this leg, I need to be doing something with the hands. I don't just want to kick the leg. I want to kick the leg and pull him back because you get that opposite and equal effect in the body, okay? The same when I'm pressing here. If I'm pressing here, I'm going to turn the head and press. Get his energy going down. Then I can drive him to the floor, I can hit him again, I can do pretty much what I want to do.